Hi, and welcome back to your River District podcast. I am your Community Development Coordinator for the City of Owen Sound, Viveca Gravel, and I am here with my boss, Brent Fisher, the Manager of Community and Business Development. Hi, Brent.
Hello, you're the one in charge now, though.
I am,
You
and
are.
I have a lot of power, and it's going to my head.
And the mute button, you don't give it a mute button in the office, do you?
No, but I could just turn down this little lever and just shut you right off.
You could. Most days I wish you could, actually.
No, absolutely not. No, Brent has been an excellent person to work with, and I've learned a lot, that's for sure. So, Brent, welcome, and thanks for coming in to share a little bit of, insight from the city perspective on the River District and all things. So, Brent, why don't you give us a little bit of an introduction? Who are you? What do you do? That kind of stuff.
How far back do you want me to go? Not that.
When you started with the city.
Yeah. I started with the city in December of 2016, moved into this role, if you will, in August of 2017, oversee tourism, special events, river district management, community and business development, kind of a really public-facing portfolio, and it's a very rewarding portfolio. You work with the public an awful lot, very public-facing, and it's one of the departments where you can see real change in your community. And since we've brought the River District or the downtown, formerly DIA, on board, it's an area certainly we've been able to see a lot of change. So we cover a lot of different things that the community touches and sees and feels, and
Okay, well, that's very interesting. I knew all of that, so it's not news to me, but you, the listener, are learning a lot. So I've known Brent for quite a few years, from the beginning of his career with the city, really, in my previous lives. And I was lucky enough to interview for this role that I'm currently in. Brent, why don't you tell us a little bit about the amalgamation of the former DIA, now River District Board of Management, and the City of Owen Sound, and how all that kind of came to fruition and how I came to be.
Yeah, although I don't want to get back into the story about how you came to be. That's enough for...
Talk about me for a little while.
Talk about you. Wow, I have to really dig into the memory bank here. A lot's happened in the last couple of years, even outside of city business, to try to look back on. I think it was maybe early in 2019, maybe late 2018, when DIA, then I'm going to say DIA chair, kind of approached Wayne Ritchie and said, is there something that we can maybe do here to work better together? They were experiencing some change. So Dave Parsons, Wayne Ritchie kind of sat down, figured some things out preliminarily and how that would look for the community before taking any kind of concepts or ideas forward. And there's always been two main things, kind of the city and the DIA, and I'm going to say DIA because it's past tense, working together, and then the whole issue of paid parking in the then downtown. So any plan kind of revolved around how that would look to alleviate a paid parking system, but allow the city and the DIA to work a little more closely together. Then it came up, then Administrator Deb Blackshaw had decided that she was going to retire. So that kind of opened up an administrative position, if you will. So looking at everything, public meetings were had, public input was taken. The city and the DIA decided it was best to put administrative duties within the city, and we really do have expertise in a lot of different areas outside of what you and I do, and those are areas like finance, those are areas like parks and beautification, those are areas like even clerks and how meetings are run, and it's well above my head the things that clerks does sometimes.
100%.
But administratively, they have the expertise in making that all work on a day-to-day basis. So we took that over in 2019. And when I say we took it over, I don't mean we took everything with the DIA, but the day-to-day administrative duties. Meetings were then moved to City Hall so that the DIA board had a proper meeting space with proper technology and a place for the public to sit and observe those meetings. So everything was going really well, has always gone well. And then a motion came forward that the DIA needed a new brand. They needed a new look. But as opposed to just developing putting some lipstick on something and calling it new, it was decided that we needed an actionable plan work together. So at that time, the city and then DIA retained BC Hughes. We worked closely with the business community through COVID, and there was a time when COVID hit. We said, hey, can we still do this? Is this even something that we can look at right now? Because the world was just going to hell in a handbasket. Pardon my
I think a lot of people had the same thoughts.
And it was, it was decided that we move forward. And I guess the easy thing at that time would have been to do nothing and say, hey, status quo, and we'll look at this again. We'll look at this plan. We'll look at this brand again.
We'll see it on the other side.
When things quiet down. But we didn't know when that was going to be. And, it was felt by city staff and council and most of all the DIA board that this plan needed to move forward. So BC Hughes got to work at kind of rejigging their plan, their public outreach strategy, how they did the surveys, how they conducted interviews with members of the community and stakeholders, and really went away and listened to the board and came back with a couple iterations of what we now know as the River District Action Plan. So that River District Action Plan is probably one of our most referenced city plans, and we're a city, so we have a lot of different plans and strategies, but it's the one where I have seen the most, not necessarily the improvement, but the most advancement on from hiring a full-time person to take over that the day-to-day administration of the River District Action Plan and yourself. And it really is a partnership. It's I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Your salary, how you're paid on a weekly basis, is a shared cost of the River District Board of Management and the city. So it is a true partnership, and it kind of here we are today, and there's a lot of different things in that list, from website to some of the beautification efforts, some of the revamping of the city's CIP, which is Community Improvement Plan, if people didn't know. And that's what you see for grants like facade improvements and accessibility improvements. There has been a whole host of actionable results that we've seen from the start of implementation to now. We plan on really keeping on moving forward, if you will.
Absolutely. And there's some things that people probably don't know sitting on the outside and looking in to how the River District and the city work together. And I mean, just as an easy example, if you walk down the street and you're seeing all the planters and stuff, the city is the one who hung them and waters them and stuff. But the DIA had very much a hand in choosing them and the colors and the kinds of flowers. And the River District Board of Management is very much involved with a lot of the day-to-day choices and all of those kinds of things. For sure.
The River District Board of Management, for those that don't know, or there's members of the community, we hold meetings every other month at City Hall. You can go to owensound.ca and find the meeting schedule there. The meetings are open to the public. You're welcome to come and ask questions. But a lot of the things that do happen within the River District are joint decisions between the city, the River District Board of Management. There are some things that are, just in the city scope. And then there are some things like DIA run events and how their money is spent that are really the decision of the River District Board of Management, even down to a budgeting process. City staff, because we have the expertise and because we're paid to be there all day,
of course,
we have the time to construct these recommendations. But they're not done in a silo. They're done in consultation with the board. And then the recommendations at a board meeting level are up for the board to consider. And they can vote them up, they can vote them down, they can change them. It's no different than their budget. Their budget annually is presented generally about the first week of December. And there's lots to consider on there as to how the DIA or River District money is spent. City staff, we make recommendations. Our accounting department, our corporate services staff make recommendations because that's what they do that's their job.
Absolutely.
From a financial standpoint, but and we see it all the time. At the end of the day, it's the River District Board's money to spend as they wish, and that board makes the decision on behalf of its members.
Absolutely. And so, describe to me a little bit who these board members are. Who makes up the board, the River District Board of Management?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great question. They're all around us. We have, I believe, 10 board members. I know we've since had maybe one resign, just because people do get busy in their personal lives.
Absolutely.
But they're business members of our community, of our River District, our downtown, and right from Chair Parsons to Vice Chair Fertner. These are people that own and operate. I can't name them all off the top of my head because I'm going to forget one. Then I'm going to be in trouble. But these are people who live, breathe, and work in Owen Sound's River District all day long. So they see many of the same things that you do. I know quite often, maybe more so now than before, they're having meaningful conversations with their neighbors. And they, just like any neighbors, they don't always get along or agree on the decisions that are being made, but they are being made in a very transparent and public way.
Well, and that's the whole reason behind having a board looking at these things. It's not one person making a decision, and everybody gets some sort of community involvement. So I think that's really great, and thank you for sharing all of those details. Because if he didn't, I would hold it against him. So what ultimately, at the end of the day, with the rebrand and all of those kinds of things, what is the ultimate goal? I mean, I grew up in Owen Sound. I love the River District. I love everything about this, but why are we changing it?
I don't want to say we're changing it completely. I think I would like to say, and I don't think I'm stealing words out of the plan, we're enhancing and creating a common goals and objectives for the city and the River District Board of Management to work towards. Change is a hard thing to do, and it can't be done in a cone where the city's just making drastic changes to a commercial area, any part of the city, let alone its downtown core. And the River District businesses, it's hard for them to move forward with change if the city doesn't buy in. So I think the ultimate goal is to work towards advancement with a common set of goals and objectives. And the River District Action Plan certainly does that. We want to continue to create an environment that is where businesses will flourish. There will always be changeover in the business environment. No downtown in North America looks the same year after year after year. Businesses come, businesses go, people retire, people change businesses, they change careers. But we want to be an area where businesses can come in and flourish, and to encourage business, new business and sustainable business as well. So that's probably the big thing. And then we want to be a place where people visit and people come, people feel comfortable, and we do that with our partners. So the River District Action Plan isn't just a document that lays out what the city does and what the River District Board and its members do. Grey County Social Services has done presentations and has completely bought into the River District Action Plan and what that means for them. Owen Sound Police Services, Grey County Paramedics, engineering services from a roads standpoint. There's so many more players involved than just you or I and the board and the businesses. Absolutely. There's a lot of different people and organizations at the table and at play here, and even parking. I look when we have our River District Plan review and the many different people that are around the table, planning and heritage from a heritage and a CIP standpoint. It's there's a lot of different moving parts. It's not just a city and a district of businesses. It's a whole bunch of different partners at the table working towards a common goal.
Absolutely. And I want to point out in terms of our downtown and the River District and how much growth we've seen over the last couple of years, even with the pandemic and all of those kinds of things. We've had some really strong-willed entrepreneurs who have come in and built very successful businesses. And I think personally that the River District Action Plan has allowed that to all come to fruition and be, making this area such a rich and wonderful place for people to be.
Yeah, I think it's proven that any business to be successful, and that the pandemic, was the ultimate factor in this. You have to be adaptable and you have to be able to change. And the River District environment downtown isn't a lot different than the River District business system themselves. If businesses didn't have an online presence, they needed to find one. If they didn't offer delivery or curbside pickup, they needed to figure out a way to do that. It caused businesses to think differently about how they do business, and the River District Action Plan, in cooperation with with the board and the businesses, has caused us to look at a different way of how we do business as well. So really, I sometimes hate the word team effort, but that's really what this is, and everybody pulls in with different strengths at different times, but everybody is, we hope, continuing to pull in the same direction.
Absolutely. And 15 minutes goes so fast, but we were running.
Minutes?
That was 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
But we were running out of time. I mean, leave it to Brent, who is a great speaker and able to fill the time if needed. But no, I think we said everything that we needed to say, and the listeners and the people who are watching have learned a lot. I'm certain. Where can they learn more? How do they reach out?
I think there's two ways. You can go to owensoundriverdistrict.ca for river district related news. But I would encourage the businesses, members of the public who are interested to watch or attend the meetings. You can watch the meetings online. Go to owensound.ca under
/meetings.
Is it /meetings?
Yep.
Okay, and you can watch the meetings online. You can ask questions if you have concerns about how the River District Board or the city is spending the money, or you just maybe need an explanation and you're not clear on something, because quite often it's just a matter of clarity. I would encourage you to participate in that way, because that's how you can really get involved and affect change.
No, that's incredible. Thank you so much for coming in, Brent. I will see you back at the office.
I will be there.
So just a reminder, I am your host, Viveca Gravel, Community Development Coordinator for the City of Owen Sound and the River District. And you can check us out on our socials of @River District OS and owensoundriverdistrict.ca. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.